We know now that in the early years of the 20th century, this world underwent a vibrant period of industry and growth. We know now that human beings across countries and continents developed inventions, built factories, mined deep into the Earth's crust, and sought through courage, grit, and hubris to place mankind on a pedestal above all other creatures, and even above nature itself. Unconcerned about the impact of their ambitions, decades passed with people passing to and fro across this seething metropolis. Meanwhile, underneath their feet, and in the world around them, wells dried up, famines raised populations, and islands disappeared. Storms tore unhindered through remote hinterlands. Yet even in their self-absorption, a flame of desire started growing. Desire for a signal, a hint, a suggestion for a new way of living, a new way of behaving, a new way of relating to this fragile planet we call Earth. And then suddenly, in the 16th year of the 21st century, the Great Awakening came. It was near the beginning of June. The financial crisis was easing. People were back at work, and oil was getting cheaper. Power was easy to use and even easier to waste. On this particular early June morning, the Trieste Survey Company estimated that 8.4 million New Yorkers were outside, roaming the great metropolis. For the next 24 hours, not much change in temperature. A slight atmospheric disturbance of unknown origin is reported over New York City, causing a low-pressure area, bringing a forecast of sunshine accompanied by a light sea breeze. This weather report comes to you from the Mission Control Center in Monaco, and now we bring you back to the music hall. Ladies and gentlemen, we interrupt this evening's music program to bring you some breaking news from the International Monegasque Newswire. The Mission Control Center in Monaco has requested the large observatories of the country to keep watch on any further disturbances occurring over the city of New York. Due to the unusual nature of this event, we have arranged an interview with noted Swiss explorer Captain Bertrand Piccard, who will give us an analysis of the events that have appeared. Just a moment, ladies and gentlemen. Captain Piccard is peering into the lens of a giant telescope. Please be patient as he trains his eyes on the heavens. Captain Piccard is in constant communication with the meteorological centers around the world and may be interrupted at any moment. Captain, may I begin our questions?
Definitely.
Would you please describe to our audience exactly what you are observing through your telescope?
Something slightly unusual at the moment. It's like a string of pearls flung up into the morning sky. A mysterious chain moving very slowly.
In your opinion, what does this chain signify, Captain Piccard?
From a scientific viewpoint, the line is merely a result of a change in atmospheric conditions with a clean source of energy.
Then you're convinced such a thing is possible?
Indeed, and I see it now through my telescope.
There have been reports of distinctive flying objects above other cities previously this year. Are you suggesting that this may be one of those objects?
I cannot account for it.
By the way, Captain, for the benefit of our listeners, how far do you estimate this object is from New York City?
Approximately 20,000 feet.
Well, that seems a safe enough distance. Thank you. Just a moment, ladies and gentlemen. Someone has just handed Captain Piccard a message. Captain, may I read the message to the listening audience?
Certainly.
Ladies and gentlemen, I shall read you a wire from Captain Andre Borschberg, New York, 3:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Registered wind shock of the intensity of a family vehicle occurring within a radius of 5 miles of New York City. Please investigate. Signed, Captain Borschberg. Captain Piccard, could this news possibly have something to do with the atmospheric disturbances previously identified in the sky?
A mere coincidence, certainly. We must, however, conduct a search as soon as time permits.
Thank you, Captain. Ladies and gentlemen, for the past 2 minutes we've brought you a special interview with Captain Piccard. We are now returning to tonight's music program. Ladies and gentlemen, I have traveled a few miles from the center of New York City, and I am presently on the edge of Battery Park. I just got here, and I hardly know where to begin. To paint a picture of the strange scene before my eyes. I guess that's it. Yes, I guess that's the thing directly in front of me, gliding through the sky, following the silvery sheen of the Hudson in the direction of the Statue of Liberty. It is too slow to be a meteor, nor any kind of plane I've ever seen. No, if I were to be honest with you, I would say it looks like a huge dragonfly, a signature in the sky. It has the wingspan of... What would you say, Captain Piccard?
Bigger than a 747, certainly.
The top part of the plane, well, I've never seen anything like it. The color is sort of a gray blue. Curious spectators are now peering up to the sky in spite of their busy days at work. They're getting in front of my line of vision, Would you mind standing to one side, please? While the policemen are pushing back the crowd, here's Mrs. Murphy, our first witness. She may have some interesting facts to add. Mrs. Murphy, would you please tell the radio audience as much as you remember of this rather unusual appearance in the sky? Step closer, please. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Mrs. Murphy.
Well, I was in my car listening to the radio.
Closer and louder, please.
Well, as I said, I was in my car listening to the radio, and that captain was talking about the peculiar chain in the sky.
Yes, Mrs. Murphy. And then you saw something?
Not at first. I began to hear something.
And what did you hear?
A soft hissing sound, like a kind of like the noise my washing machine makes.
Then what?
I looked out of my car window in the distance, beyond the Statue of Liberty, and could have sworn I was dreaming.
Yes?
I saw the silvery gray streak, really majestic, crossing the sky.
And how did you feel, Mrs. Murphy?
I was kind of shocked, and then I decided to call the police.
Thank you, Mrs. Murphy. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've just heard Mrs. Murphy, our first witness of this curious aeronautical machine that has been peacefully making its way down the Hudson this morning. I wish I could convey the atmosphere, the movement this has created here. Fantastic scene. Hundreds of people are now standing on the bridge next to me. Police are trying to control the crowds, but it's no use. They're breaking right through. Some of the more daring souls are now venturing near the edge. Now, ladies and gentlemen, there's something I haven't mentioned in all this excitement, but it's starting to become more distinct. Perhaps you've caught it already on your radio. Listen. Do you hear it? It's the curious humming sound Mrs. Murphy just described to you earlier. I'll move the microphone closer. Now, we're not more than 2,000 feet away. Can you hear it now? Captain Picard?
Yes?
Can you tell us the meaning of that humming noise?
Well, your average airplane engine, even the most up-to-date, emits a deep roar when it passes overhead. This is just a soft humming sound. It's like nothing I've ever heard before.
Any guesses as to what it could be, Captain?
I don't really know. The metal casing definitely looks like a rigid structure. Perhaps it isn't a dragonfly, but the structure definitely resembles it. This thing is long with a cockpit-like bulb at the front. It's like I've seen something like it before. Or maybe dreamt it.
Just a minute! Ladies and gentlemen, this is incredible! The object is gently dancing around the sky next to the Statue of Liberty. Every second we can see it getting clearer and clearer. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the most incredible thing I've ever witnessed! It's a glider or a bird! A very strange bird traveling extremely slowly. Captain, how fast do you think it's going?
About 50 kilometers per hour.
What else do you see through your binoculars?
Shiny flakes lining the top of the wings and tail.
And what else?
Well, this is going to sound crazy. In fact, it is crazy, but they look like solar panels.
What do you mean, solar panels? Is this thing alive?
Yes, something definitely is alive.
Alive? You mean it's a creature?
A man. I can see him now quite clearly. And he's waving.
Waving?
You heard me right. And you can rest assured there is nothing to be afraid of. Rather, there is every reason to celebrate.
Celebrate, Captain?
Yes, because I did dream of this moment. It is an airplane. An airplane like no other airplane ever built before. An airplane powered only by the sun. It is solar impulse, and the man in the cockpit is my dear solar brother, Captain Borschberg.
This is André Borschberg, ladies and gentlemen, in character to assure you that Solar Impulse 2 is not a figment of your imagination. It's a real airplane. It's an object of the future, flown by a real man, and it will be coming to New York and flying past the Statue of Liberty. Here to give you a glimpse, not into an alien culture, but into your own future. So today, when you look up, be inspired, take the best of the past and dictate your own future. The impossible is possible.